Hello everyone, back into today's first video, doing JMA Friday for today's first video. So as was on Friday, we're having a detailed month-ahead look ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. It's going to take us into the middle of December actually, so we'll see what the JMA and the CFS have got to say about whether heading off into the beginning of winter 2019-2020, meteorological winter anyway. So after that, we're going to have a week 10-day video update as always. I mean, tonight we've got the 9th Christmas update ahead for you. So another instalment of the Christmas updates with you tonight around 7 o'clock. Right, let's start off with JMA then. So we're going to begin with the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the Arctic and North Pole view down into the mid-latitudes. So this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here, mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere around there. Blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure, and yellow, orange and red extrapolate to above average heights, which is high pressure. So, well, these break down to week periods, by the way. The first week period takes us from the 22nd to the 29th of November. So, week 1, 500 millibar high anomaly has northern blocking. We've got high pressure up towards Greenland, extending over the southern part of the pole anyway, and in towards Scandinavia. Low pressure is underneath it, coming in from off the Atlantic. Looks pretty unsettled in the week ahead. We've got quite a strong jet stream heading in there from off the Atlantic, bringing areas of low pressure. So back to wet conditions again, I'm afraid. The only difference is that despite the blocking signal, it's a bit milder, as winds will be coming up more from a southwesterly type direction. But it is very unsettled, that, with further spells of rain likely. Into week 2, which takes us from the 29th of November to the 6th of December, we find below average heights, again out to the north and the west of the country, some ridging across southern parts of Europe. We have lost that sort of blocking signal, and it just looks very unsettled again, really. You would expect spells of rain to be heading in from off the Atlantic. It's pretty mild. Winds would be from a west-southwesterly direction. There's no particularly cold source of air likely there. Just continues to be very unsettled into the early part of December. And then weeks 3 and 4 takes us from the 6th through to the 20th of December, so heading up towards the pre-Christmas period. And on it goes, again, with below average heights just centred in the North Atlantic, into the UK, into Scandinavia. Jet streams coming through like that. So it continues to look unsettled, potentially very unsettled, with spells of rain rattling in from the Atlantic, maybe stormy winds at times too. I suppose one slight difference is that the centre of the below average heights is more around here, which could allow something a little bit cooler or colder perhaps to come in from the northwest. We might start to pull the air in out of Greenland, for example. Not a particularly cold source there, though, because there's no real blocking signal to force cold air out of the pole and down into northern Europe. Could be a little bit on the cooler side, though, perhaps, as we move in towards the middle part of December. But the main takeaway from that is just a continuation of very, very unsettled conditions, which, of course, will only exacerbate the flooding problem. The mid-latitude tropical view looks like this. So the North Pole and Scandinavia, that sort of area, is off the chart. We can't see that, but we just have a look at that view down, so we know broadly what's going on. UK is in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it there on this view. So a reminder of week 1, 500 millibar height anomaly from the 22nd, 29th of November. Very unsettled. Low pressure is in from off the Atlantic. I mean, it just looks really, really unsettled in the week ahead. Temperature anomalies are milder than average. We are drawing the air up from the southwest, so it's a rather milder week than we've had for quite a while. And precipitation anomalies above average pretty much in most parts of the country. Nearer northern parts of the far north, but generally a wetter than average week coming up. Then we're into week 2, which is the 29th of November to the 6th of December. This one, again, looks very unsettled. Low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic. I think we're drawing up southwesterly winds, so I expect it's going to be milder than average, but it does look unsettled. Temperature anomalies are average to above average here. So milder than average week being forecast for that first week of December. And it's wetter than average too. The above average rainfall anomalies continue. So a very wet week coming up there to begin December. Finally through to weeks 3 and 4, which gets us from the 6th through to the 20th of December, and it continues to look really unsettled here. Low pressure is dominating. But bear in mind, this is a 2-weekly anomaly as well, so often the 2-weekly anomaly is a little bit weaker than weeks 1 and 2, because you can get transitions going on within those 2-weekly time frames. But this is just a very strong signal to continue to be really unsettled. It is cooling a little bit as we go through into weeks 3 and 4. The temperature anomaly is returning close to average. Notice it's below average just to our west. That could be indicative of just setting the jet stream and the wind direction up northwest to southeast. So we might start to pull some slightly cooler air in from the North Atlantic and from Greenland, possibly. Not cold, though, not really cold, because we haven't got any northern bronch to force true Arctic air into northern Europe. But it might be a little bit cooler for the middle of December. But the main story is that it continues to be wet. So rainfall anomalies are still coming out above average, even into the second half of December. Rather ominous and alarming for anyone who's had problems with flooding. Could we see Christmas floods this year? Well, too early to be confident about that, but it definitely looks very, very unsettled here, particularly up to the middle of December, perhaps even beyond. Let's have a look at what CFS V2 is showing. So again, these are 500 millibar heights, which break it down into weekly periods. The first week period will get us from the 22nd to the 28th of November. The coming week, virtually identical to what the JMA is showing, really. Above average heights are sitting to our north, blocking is to the north, but we've got low pressure to our west. Southwest is unsettled and a little bit milder as well as we start to bring the air up from more of a southerly to southwesterly direction. Change with week 2 compared to the JMA. So this is 29th of November to 5th of December. At this point, the JMA wants it to be very unsettled again. The CFS is actually building up a ridge close to the UK. So there's a ridge building across Western Europe. It starts around North Africa and Spain. It builds through the UK and actually connects back towards blocking around Greenland. Low pressure is out to west and also a trough into the far northeast of Europe. That's going to settle us down if it comes off to some degree. It may still be a little bit unsettled. There is a bit of weakness here between the centre of these two ridges. So there's a little bit of weakness going through there. That might allow some showery bursts to still come through, but I think that would be a drier week compared to particularly what the JMA is showing. At this time frame, the JMA wants it to be very, very unsettled. To week 3, which is the 6th to the 12th of December. Again, a bit of a high pressure influence here. Above average heights then tending to be sort of over and to the southwest of the country, below average heights up to the north. So out of the two models, the CFS is definitely the driest and most high pressure dominated of the two. Just when you're going like that, so it will be drawing up very mild air from the southwest. That could be very mild, actually, from the 6th to 12th of December, but probably relatively dry, particularly for England and Wales. Then in week 4, which is the 13th to the 19th of December, just signs that the high is beginning to decline a little bit. It's moving down towards kind of like the Mediterranean and the Alps. Low pressure appears to be strengthening to our north, bringing a westerly wind. It's mild still, but probably turning more unsettled there as we get to the middle part of December. That could be turning things a good deal wetter once again. So you have got disagreement here between the CFS and the JMA. The JMA is very unsettled from start to finish. The CFS is saying that after an unsettled start, it does settle down for a while. Anyway, it dries out for a while before probably going unsettled again by the middle of the month. very mild potential for CFS. These are the temperature anomalies from the CFS V2 for week 1, 22nd to 28th of November. It's a milder than average week. Notice those cold average temperatures that have been dominating much of northern and central western Europe through most of November have been pushed back in towards the far east of Europe and western parts of Russia. Then into week 2, which is the 29th of November to the 5th of December. Again, a milder than average week coming up. Very mild week for much of Europe. Continues to be mild than average in week 3. This is the 6th to the 12th of December. Significantly above average temperatures once again. And then week 4 rounds it all off. This is another mild to very mild week from the 13th to the 19th of December, substantially above average with the temperature anomaly once again. So this is a really mild 4 weeks coming up if CFS is right. Precipitation anomalies for week 1, 22nd to the 8th of November, wetter than average for England and Wales, a little bit drier than average though to our northwest. Near normal precipitation into week 2. This is 29th November to 5th of December. Goes to average with precipitation then. Week 3 is the 6th to the 12th of December. That one also close to average, but hints at being drier than average around west of Europe, really. And then finally, week 4 looks like it's going more unsettled. This is the 13th to the 19th of December, and that one comes out wetter than average. So, disagreements from relatively early on, actually, with JMA Friday today. But JMA suggests that it's unsettled from beginning to end. We have no particular... Remember, they're weekly anomalies, so within that, there might be like a couple of days of higher pressure and slightly drier conditions. But overall, the JMA wants it to be very unsettled from start to finish, really, except for perhaps a few days here and there where it might dry out. But the JMA looks really, really unsettled for the next month. The CFS suggests that after quite an unsettled start, especially for England and Wales, we rapidly start to build up some ridging, and the first half of December actually looks rather drier than we've had for a while, and also very mild. And then in around middle of the month, just into the second half of the month, possibly going very unsettled again, even with the CFS. So the CFS does eventually get us to where the JMA is. It's just that it has a couple of weeks of much drier weather in between. So disagreements are relatively early on. There's no cold signal here, though. It looks like generally we're talking about a mild or very mild first half to December anyway. It's just a question of how unsettled it will be. Given what's happened this autumn, this deluge of an autumn, I would tend to go more with the JMA. I have a feeling the CFS is probably making too much of these ridges, but we shall see. Could be that we're going to get a couple of weeks of dry weather, and if we did, it would be, of course, very, very useful. Right, remember, just a snapshot of what models are showing. They could look very different next week. So any forecast beyond 5 to 7 days is fraught with danger and comes with health warnings. So next week's JMA Friday could look totally different. We shall see. But we'll be back later on with your week to 10-day video update. And then tonight we're going to have a bit of fun with the 9th Christmas update. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.